Welcome, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros MLB, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. It is me, and it's Mike Mayer today with you, Joey P. and Mikey M. This is the boys getting it done. Mike is fresh from the dentist chair, so show everybody the big pearly whites. Oh, there they are on the YouTube channel. You got a good checkup yesterday, the big guy?
Great checkup. Whenever you don't have like a cavity or a root canal, that's a win. They still, they scrape your gums a little bit too much for my liking, but other than that, as good as it could have gone.
Do you think they enjoy that? I feel like the hygienist enjoys the scraping of the gums. I feel like, that's one of those things where they get in there and they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit. And the sharpness of that tool seems staggeringly strong to me. I feel like it's made out of Wolverine's claws, because I don't know how they could dig in there the way they dig and then not ever break it. It seems like an indestructible material. Your thoughts, Mike Mayer?
Yeah, they definitely enjoy it. And they definitely spend like way too much time on like the top front where it's like the most sensitive. And they just have this like razor sharp tool that vibrates and like sprays water. And they're like, I'm just going to like scrape you clean for a while, but like spend the most time in the areas where it hurts the most. So they definitely enjoy it. I mean, what else could you enjoy looking at people's
That's true. I had a streak, Mike Mayer. I never had a cavity my entire life until I hit 40. And then it was a cavity that turned out to get infected and had a root canal. So I did the whole thing, and it wasn't so bad. I mean, people complain about it. I mean, the root canal didn't hurt nearly as bad as the tooth hurt before. But anyway, hopefully today's show won't be like pulling teeth. We're going to talk baseball, and we might as well start with the big news of the day, and that is Reed Detmers going no against the Tampa Bay Rays. So this was a fun little stat. He was started in 18% of leagues this week on CBS. I went and I found that because I thought that was very amusing. So Reed Detmers helped some teams, not a whole lot of teams, but 11th career start, a no-hitter, not a lot of strikeouts in this one, but a fun night of baseball. It also included Anthony Rendon hitting a home run, batting left-handed off of Brett Phillips. So that was a good time. Mike Trout hit 2 home runs in that game. So what'd you take away from this one from Reed Detmers last night for the Halos?
Well, it was funny. He only had 2 strikeouts. Also, Phillips is also the person who almost had a hit in this game. I don't know if you saw that highlight of the ground ball to first base that Jared Wallace botched, that Phillips may have beaten out if it was a clean ground ball. So that was the only questionable one. I think it's right to call it an error, but I do think there's maybe a 50% chance that Phillips beats out that ground ball, even if it's fielded cleanly.
And fun fact, the fewest strikeouts in a complete game no-hitter is not Reed Detmers. No. There were 0 strikeouts 3 times by Earl Hamilton in 1912, when I was born, Sam Jones in 1923, and Ken Holtzman in 1969 when Mayer was born. So there you go. No hitters with no strikeouts. That seems like a tough thing to pull off, but alas, this is the beauty of baseball. Strange things always happen. Speaking of strange things, how about that Justin Verlander took a no-hitter almost to the wire as well? He lost it in the 8th inning. Only 84 pitches with 1 out in the 8th when he gave up his hit. Verlander has completely bounced back. I am not surprised. One of my favorite investments this year, so hopefully you listened on that one. Aaron Judge, first career walk-off home run. The Stanton home run in this one was a joke. The ball that was hit by Espinal that was ruled a home run and then a double was a joke. Yes, Yankee Stadium is a joke. This has always been the case. Let's get over ourselves, but still, Aaron Judge hitting the first walk-off. This was certainly fun. It feels like Aaron Judge is fixing to get paid. What are your thoughts on the walk-off there for the big man?
Yeah, well, I'm glad he hit the walk-off like 600 feet because it made up for the Stanton home run going like 200 feet in that joke of the stadium. But yeah, I mean, we've seen Aaron Judge like get hot, and then like he goes to that period where like people just figure out that he can't hit sliders away, and so then like he'll struggle for a little while. But I think he's fixing to get paid, and I think the Yankees probably botched this a little bit, not paying him before the season. Although I think I could see both sides of that one, and I think ultimately I kind of lean like Yankees with like his injury history and like not paying him, so like they can't afford to lose his bat.
I think it's good for the Yankees to, because of the injury history he's had. I think you could sell it to the fan base better coming off the big year that you make the investment. Like, you're going to have to pay him through the nose no matter what. You're going to have to pay a ton for Aaron Judge. So you
Well,
might as
speaking
well
of
have him
that,
come off his
speaking of
best
that
year.
joke stadium, they have a part of their stadium named after him, like Judge's quarters or whatever that is in like left field. Like they have to
Yeah.
rebrand that if they don't resign him. They're like, oh, take down those.
Somehow I think the
Judge
Yankees will
names.
find a way to get it done. Tariq
Yeah.
Skubal continues to be good. 7 shutoutings for him over the A's. Robbie Ray, nice performance from him. 10 strikeouts over the Phillies. Oh, that Phillies lineup. I'm telling you, Joe Girardi better watch himself. I'm telling you, the rumblings in Philadelphia are going to get stronger and stronger as they struggle. Madison Bumgarner was good against Miami. Kyle Bradish, how about this? 11 strikeouts against the Cardinals.
Kyle,
Is
big Kyle.
is Bradish a guy that everybody should be running to the waiver wire to pick up?
I don't know about running to the waiver wire, but I did look into him a little bit this morning, and I mean there are some good numbers there. The thing for me is that like he's kind of like a fringe talent on a bad team, which like if he was like on the Dodgers, then yeah, I'd be sprinting to the waiver wire. But like the strikeout numbers were good. He has some good strikeout numbers in like lower levels. We had that kind of like 2020 lost year where you kind of like missed that year of development. But I mean, he looked pretty good, and it's good that left field in Camden Yards is now 800 feet away, so that helps.
God, it's so ugly too. Can I
Yeah,
just
it's ugly.
rant
It's
for a minute about
dangerous.
it's ugly, it's dangerous, it's no fun. I get trying to adjust it, but they've adjusted it in such a way where it's such an eyesore. I really hate it, and it's such a beautiful place. And I've been there numerous times to watch baseball live. And if you had never been, I encourage you to. It's a beautiful ballpark, but it
Great.
is really just crappy. Like they did a crap job. Another
Maybe we could do an
good
AL
note.
East trade and like move in left field and Camden Yards and like give some of that fence to
Can we
right field
split
at
the
Yankee
difference?
Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to split the difference. Cedric Mullins homered and stole a base, 4-hit day for him. He's red hot right now. Snell looking good in a AAA start, so he should be joining that rotation relatively soon, perhaps on the weekend, perhaps beginning of next week. We shall see. And then Justin Turner finally signs of life. 4 hits, 4 ribbies last night in that win. Tony Gonsolin got another win, of course, against the Pirates. I'm telling you, this is your time. The ERA is like 1. It's time to get out of the Tony Gonsolin business and flip him for something better if you can. On the injury front, Seiya Suzuki almost returned to the lineup, but was scratched. Did not. Oh, sorry. He did appear as a pinch hitter. And the Rays say no injury to Wander Franco. We're just pulling him out because this game is out of control. I was talking to you before the show started today, Mayor, and I said that the Rays have to pull off another deal like they did last year where they brought in a Nelson Cruz type bat. They got to bring in somebody because they don't have a middle of the order presence. And look, if you're the Rays and a Rosarena's not hitting and some of these other guys are struggling and it's just Wander Franco, that's not enough offensively to compete for the East right now.
Yeah, I mean, they already pulled off their best move over the last few years in getting rid of Heim Bloom and sending him to the Red Sox, and so that has really changed the dynamic in the AL East. But I'm sure, I mean, they're the Rays. They always do something. They'll promote someone who will just like pitch lights out, or they'll find some gem in the bargain bin. I mean, this is what they do.
But you got to score runs. Like, I mean, you got to put more runs on the table. That's it. Yeah, actually, here's a good question, too, with the Snell return. This is from Mark. Does Snell return affect Gore's spot in the rotation? Your thoughts, Mike Mayer? So we have Musgrove, Darvish, and Manaea locked in, correct? So after that, so anybody into Clevenger just came back, so that's your 4. I'm sure Nick Martinez can go bounce. Is Gore in trouble?
He could be. I mean, he shouldn't be, but he could be. I mean, I'd ideally like to see them. I mean, you don't really want to go to a 6-man rotation because you don't want to like not start Darvish, Manaea, and the others. But they do have Clevenger coming back from injury, so he wouldn't. He could benefit from an extra day off. They've shown in the past that like they're not all in on Gore. I mean, with his like previous struggles, but I mean, I feel like he's pitching well enough now that he should stick in the rotation. But we'll see. They've done this before.
And I imagine, you want to get the lefty in that rotation. So if Snell is healthy, I don't think they're going to rush Snell. That being said, I think they're going to wait and bide their time a little bit. All right, let's talk about this. Major League Baseball executives were polled on some big topics in 2022. So here's how some of the results shook out. Which player or team has been the biggest surprise? The top vote getter was Taylor Ward, which would have been my vote.
Fair.
5 votes for him. Eric Hosmer had 3. The Twins had 3. The National League West had 1 vote. And then the Rockies, the Angels. Some moron was surprised about the Brewers. I don't know what moron that was. Carlos Rodon got a vote. Eric Lauer got a vote. So I'll ask you, of all these or another one, who's the biggest surprise so far of 2022?
The biggest surprise is the answers to these polls, because these are garbage answers, like you were saying. Like
That's
Taylor
the
Ward is
nightmare I've been waiting to see today. Let's go.
I was reading
Garbage
this before.
answers.
I was reading this before we started, and I was like, Taylor Ward makes sense. I was like, Hosmer, that's a dumb one because he's done this before. I mean, maybe it's surprising he stayed hot this long, but I mean, like, the Twins aren't that surprising. They went out and got Correa. Like, you knew they were going to try and win. NL West, like, that's the least surprising thing maybe in baseball history, that the NL West is good. Carlos Rodon,
I think the
Diamondbacks
Diamondbacks are a couple games over 500 is shocking. I'm shocked by that. So,
but the division as a whole,
Rockies are up there. Yeah, but like the fact that everyone in the division's over 500, that's shocking. I get that one.
I would bet money that answer came from like the GM of the Rockies or the Diamondbacks. Like, oh, look at us, we're a surprise.
Probably. So
like Carlos Rodon is in there. Like, he's not a surprise. Come on, Eric Lauer is a surprise. Yeah,
Eric Lauer would be a good one too. I think Lauer and I think Taylor Ward would be the two answers. Okay, let's do another one. Let's see what kind of garbage you think this one is. Which player or team has been the biggest disappointment? Your Red Sox got 8 votes. The Reds got 5, but I mean, you had to know it. Joey Votto alone got 3. The Phillies got 3. I'm going to tell you what, I think the Phillies, Trevor Story got 1 vote, but the Phillies would be my thing, because I thought the Phillies with Castellanos and Schwarber, I thought those were 2 really good moves. And it's just not come together for this Phillies team right now. And they just don't look good offensively. They've had some struggles in the bullpen. So that would be my vote, would be the Phillies. But who's the biggest disappointment, team or individual, for you? And don't say me. That's not a good answer.
Well, that ties into my argument about the Red Sox, because you have to have expectations in order to be disappointed. And so I don't have any expectations for you. And so you continue to not disappoint me, because that's
like, isn't that what Vince Vaughn says at the beginning of Dodgeball? If you don't set goals, then you can't fail. And then, you're in good shape after that, and it feels pretty good.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. I thought
that is also, but he didn't say that one. That was what Rip Torn said. But he said, if you don't have goals, then you're not disappointed when you don't reach them. And I got to say, it feels pretty good. I think I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
So did you have an answer? Is it the Red Sox? They're the most disappointing?
See, I mean, I think in general, yes, but like, I was very low on the Red Sox coming into the year, so I'm not that disappointed in them, because the Reds is obviously a dumb answer, because like, they gave up months ago before the season even started. I think the Phillies is probably the right answer. Marcus Semien is an answer, but I think a lot of people kind of saw this coming. There were a lot of smart people in the baseball industry being like, I wouldn't really buy on Semien this year. The Phillies is a good one. I figured they would struggle more with like just pitching than opposed to the lineup, but they're kind of struggling with both.
All right. Who will be the biggest name moved? The front office executives voted Frankie Montas to be the most. That's what I would have said too. Montas Castillo got the second most votes. Somebody said Xander Bogaerts, 5 people actually. Evaldi had 2 votes. Aaron Nola got a vote. Brian Reynolds got a vote. Nelson Cruz is definitely going to be moved. Joey Gallo got a vote, which I thought was interesting. But the most interesting, somebody said Juan Soto. And there's no way they're trading Juan Soto right now. They can't. I can't see them doing it now and in season. That would be shocking to me. But we shall see. Frankie Montas and Castillo, those are the 2 for me. And Xander Bogaerts makes a lot of sense if they're going to look. You can't be happy with what you got out of Trevor Story so far. So if I was the Red Sox, I'd be very careful about moving Xander Bogaerts. But who is the biggest name in your opinion that's going to get moved for the trade deadline?
Well, I think the top 2 are as close to locks to getting moved as you can get. I think the Bogaerts one is interesting because it came out last week that like he's pissed at the Red Sox and that they like lowballed him. Another Heimblum special. I was watching MLB Network this morning, and they had an interesting fit for a Bogaerts trade, and that was the Cardinals, who just sent down Paul DeJong to the minor leagues and could really use a good shortstop like Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, can we talk about that move, by the way, that Paul DeJong gets sent down? You could easily move a guy who won a Gold Glove and Tommy Edman over to shortstop, who played shortstop in the minor leagues, and call up Nolan Gorman, yet we refuse to do this. I am losing patience with the Cardinals. Now, is Nolan Gorman getting protected because they're going to make that kind of deal? Is he going to go to the Boston Red Sox? If so, fine. But they are cramping my style with this, dude. I am not happy. I saw the young thing and I went, oh, who's the call up? And I saw it. I was like, you got to be kidding me, bro. That's not the guy to be called. What are we doing,
bro?
You
got your Juan Yepez, so just be happy with that for a while.
I did get my Yepez, but I mean, do we have a Yepez dispenser joke all lined up already or not? Like when he hits a home run or something. I mean, They've got to have that on the scoreboard where it's
If
a
you send him to
Yepez
the
face.
Yankees, I'm sure John Sterling will come up with something stupid.
Oh, Yepez dispenses a home run.
Speaking of, he called that Stanton
Yankees
home run. He was like, a Stantonian blast. I was like, that went like 200 feet.
Yeah,
dude.
I was going to say, that was not a Stantonian blast. It is high. It is far. It is caught by the shortstop.
It is high. It is far. It is neither of those
for the
things.
third out. Yeah. Not a great look. All right, let's move to Sarah Langs here for a second. Here's a fun fact that she posted on the Twitter machine. Reed Detmers yesterday entered with a 6.33 ERA. That's the third highest career ERA at the time of throwing a no-hitter. Wilson Alvarez had one that was off the charts, but it was early in 91. And yeah, Infinity is what you wrote. And then Bobo Holloman. Everybody loves a good Bobo Holloman
Great
quote
name.
or a moment, who had an ERA of 8.44. So is this the time to trade Reed Detmers, in your opinion?
Yeah, last night was the time to trade Reed Detmers. Like the second after
before
that ball hit
the
glove at first base, you trade him.
Nice. Before everybody's sobered up. All right. Nolan Gorman watch. This is day, what was this, like 26? I feel like now. I feel like we're in day 26 of Nolan Gorman watch. So tomorrow will be day 27. I can't believe DeYoung got sent down and we didn't get him called up. All right. Trivia question here. And this is yours. So I don't have an answer for this one. So Mike Mayer's in control of this. Mike Mayer, why don't you, since this is your trivia question, why don't you throw it out there to the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks who are watching and listening to the show?
Sure. So there were a bunch of fun Josh Hader stats last night because he got, he hit that like 500 strikeouts. So his Josh Hader's 44.3% strikeout rate is by far the highest mark for any pitcher with at least 200 innings pitched. Do you know who number 2 on the list is? And the hint is that it's a current reliever.
A current reliever that has a strikeout rate higher than 44.
Lower than 44 is number 2. Josh Hader's number 1. This is number 2. It's above 40, but it's below 44.
Okay, so it's right below Hader. Is there like a minimum here? Like he's a current reliever, meaning he's like a new guy, or is he like?
He's been around a while.
Somebody's...
It's with at least 200 innings, so he's been around a while. He's a veteran.
Okay, with at least 200 innings pitched, so a veteran reliever. All right, I'm gonna think about that. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. If you have an answer, go ahead and put it in there. A lot of people are saying Aroldis Chapman. Is that the correct answer?
It is not correct. No, not Chapman.
It is not correct. Is it Edwin Diaz? Just out of curiosity.
It is not Edwin Diaz. Also,
okay, because Kaleo just said it and I just said it at the same time. So I don't think it's Kimbrel. I saw Kimbrel on that list. So we'll do some stat heroes and zeros.
It's Kimbrel.
And then it's Kimbrel. It is Kimbrel.
Yeah.
Oh, the Hirsch is right. Kimbrel.
Yep.
Look at you. The Hirsch has got it. Well done, Hirsch. Well done. All right. So there's your answer. Let's get to the stat heroes. Besides Reed Detmers, Justin Verlander, 8 scoreless innings. Therese Skubal, 7 scoreless innings. Kyle Bradish, again, the 11 Ks, unbelievable against the Cards. Lucas Giolito, 5 Ks, 1 earned run. Freddie P, 5 2/3. 1 more out. Could we get him 1 more out to get the quality start? Jeez. 8 Ks in a win over the Reds. The hitters last night, Mike Trout was great, 2 dingers, 3 for 4. Cedric Mullins was on fire. Corey Seager, 2 for 3 with 2 dingers. Look at Corey Seager heating up. I mentioned Justin Turner breakout, which is very important for the length of this Dodger lineup. Rafael Devers, 2 for 4 with a dinger. Edwin Rios, 1 home run. Aaron Judge had a dinger. Jonathan Scope, who was dropped in a lot of leagues in the last 2 weeks. Of course, as soon as you drop Jonathan Scope, you know he's going to start to get hot. That's just who he is. And, of course, Stanton with his massive home run. Nick Solak stole 2 bags also yesterday. The pitchers, we had some zeros there for the Corey Kluber. 8 earned runs, 11 hits in a loss to the Angels. That one's got a sting for all those Klub people out there. Senzatella, 5 earned runs. Kyle Wright, 6 earned runs yesterday. What happened to Kyle Wright here? It was a bad inning. Is that all it is? We just chalk it up to 1 bad inning and we move on, or are you a little worried here?
I mean, he's been kind of like, earning some credit throughout. So like I'm the genius who had Kyle Wright rostered in dynasty leagues for like 2 or 3 years and dropped him before the season because I finally got tired of waiting, and so that was great timing.
No, I've done the same thing in the past. I actually dropped him last year because I was like, enough is enough. This is never going to happen. So I can't blame you for doing it.
He was getting a lot of credit last night because all 6 of those runs were in the second inning, I think, and they were like, oh, he really bounced back and showed some toughness to go 3 more innings and shut it down after that. So whatever.
So he doesn't make the tough guy segment. So you're saying it was not really tough.
Yeah, good for him.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Brad Keller, 5 earned runs. Jesus Lazardo 4 earned runs in 2 2/3. Remember last week when I was saying maybe Jesus Lazardo is a perfect guy to be flipping right now because it can't get much better than this, and I don't know if it's going to sustain. Of course, I put Joe Ryan in my lineup for the first time in my killer home league pitching staff, where I've got Verlander,
First
Peralta,
time.
I've got Scherzer, I've got everybody. And I was like, you know what? We're going to finally crack the Joe Ryan 2-star week. And of course, he sucked. So I'm sorry. It's my fault, everyone. And Jordan Romano with a rare bad outing, 2 walks, 3 earned in a third of an inning. Sheldon Noisy, 1 for 8 with 4 Ks yesterday. Starling Marte, 0 for 5 with the hat trick. And then Javier Baez, 1 for 9 with 2 Ks. Holy crap. Javier Baez was my big bust of the year going into the season. Big contract, bad lineup protection, changing leagues. So many things could go wrong with Javi Baez. And they all have. And I'm not trying to take a victory lap, but what I'm trying to put out there is
But you're trying to take a victory lap.
We need to learn that this is an important thing to pay attention to. When guys get these big contracts and they go to bad teams where they don't have lineup protection, but historically they had places where they did, and they lose that, and they have a lot of swing and miss, and they're kind of one of those, 2 true outcomes. They're going to strike out or hit a home run. You got to pay attention to that stuff. So can Javier Baez pull himself out of this in the second half? That is the question. We saw Lindor do it at the end of last year. Is there that run in there for Javi Baez, in your opinion, in 22?
I think there is. And I think he's always been someone I've been terrified of because he defies a ton of the underlying metrics. He has terrible plate discipline. He strikes out a ton. He swings out a bunch of stuff, but he also he's got a little bit of that Vlad Senior in him where he just swings at terrible pitches and crushes them. And so I think you'll see him. He's always been a little streaky. So I think you'll see him get hot and he's never going to give you a high average, but I think there's always reason to be cautious with Javier Baez, but I think you're going to see hot streaks to kind of give you the numbers that you're looking for.
Look, you could buy him dirt cheap right now. That's why I asked, because as much as I wanted to flag him going into the year, I didn't have to draft him. Now I'm curious to trade for him because if he's going to go dirt cheap, you're right. He's going to have a run at some point. I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's going to be something. Now, here's one of the benefits of being
You're such
popular.
a good host, setting up all these questions. You already know the answers to.
Yes, I try.
You're so good at this.
Being popular and having insider information here. I got a little inside information from somebody close actually to the St. Louis situation here in my DMs. So I'm going to read this. This person is nameless, but this person is in the media, and this person does cover the Cardinals. So I don't want to put him out there. And he also is a big listener of the show. He's a big fan. This person knows who they are as I'm reading this out. So I help him out with fantasy football stuff. So he likes to help me out with baseball things. See the exchange of goods and services we do here on Leading Off. This is very important. The potential path for Gorman is an eventual DFA for Corey Dickerson. And apparently what's going on is it seems they're reluctant to use Edman at shortstop, even though despite he could do it. What they want to do is they want to have Gorman basically not be a DH, but they're trying to make sure that if they do give Edman some time to acclimate again to shortstop, that they don't rush that they do it over a period of time. So that is the case. So if you start to see Edman getting some starts at shortstop in the next week or two, that's your signal that Gorman's getting called up. So thank you very much
on that
insider information.
On that note, just to back that up, I did read somewhere last night, I think it was Derek Gould maybe, said something similar. Not necessarily tying it to Gorman, but tying it to Edman and shortstop. He is taking ground balls at shortstop before games. They're just not ready to. They're happy with what he's doing at second base. He's off to a great start, at the plate, and so they're taking the shortstop thing very slow. So that does make sense.
Yeah, so there you go. See this? This is why you listen to the show, because we get insider information there. I can get you whatever you need. What do you need? Here's guys who went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Ready? Cesar Hernandez, Patrick Wisdom, Teoscar Hernandez, welcome back. Isaiah Kiner Falefa, Tyler O'Neill, Kyle Schwarber, and Bobby Witt. So there you go. Another fun fact that you threw in here. Anthony Rendon hit a home run left-handed last night, while all these players have 0 home runs on the year. Joey Votto, Marcus Semien. I didn't realize Marcus Semien had no home runs yet. I did not realize that. Trevor Story, Austin Meadows, Whit Merrifield, Brian Hayes, Robbie Grossman, and Yuli Gurriel. Who is your favorite buy low of this group here, Mayor?
Oh man, that's a great question. I would say probably Merrifield, but I mean, his batted ball data is terrible, but it's always kind of been terrible. And I don't think you're going to get any power out of him. But I mean, you could get in the second half. Not that we're at the second half yet, but a decent average and some stolen bases. And so if someone's really panicking and giving Whit Merrifield away for free, I'll take those stolen bases.
Yeah, I like Merrifield, and the other guy would be Simeon. You know why? He just signed a giant contract on a bad team without a lot of lineup protection. Oh my goodness. I just gave you the Kevin from Home Alone right here, the Kevin McAllister live on the YouTube channel, because I'm so shocked that the guy who had a great year is now moving to a place where it's terrible and signed a big contract and is changing his entire life. It's a transition.
He's not
All
playing
right,
in
speaking of
AAA
transitions.
ballparks anymore.
What's that?
He's not playing in AAA ballparks anymore. Remember the Blue Jays were like
No,
playing
he's
in
not
like
playing in AAA
Dunedin.
I miss Dunedin so much. So let's go to the home run board. The Night King in the North still at the top with 12. All I do is win with 12. JP 34 with 11. DeBlum with 11 as well. We've got some double digiters as well. Larry C's up on the board, and what's Florence Sox is on the board as well with 10. Mike Mayer luckily is not on this board. All I do is win is tied
close,
though. Yeah, because of the Aaron Judge and Larry C up to double digits thanks to Judge last night too. So some good work in the home run contest being done. Oh, I did it again. Oh, sorry.
I got two from Mike Trout last night. That means I got Mike Judge.
One for Beavis and one for Butthead.
That's 3 in the last 2 days from Mike Trout for Mike Mayer.
Oh, goodness. Yesterday when I came back, you're lucky because I made Scott Bogman accidentally Chris Welsh. I don't know if he caught that, but of course Chris did. And of course sent me a screenshot of it. So that was very funny. So
no, but I have done an entire show as someone else before because there wasn't like an overlay for me. So I did like an entire show as Tuma, I think, once.
I'm sorry to hear that. Let's get to tonight's action in the betting pros. And of course, head over to bettingpros.com/MLB props where you can see the prop bet cheat sheet for the night. These are all pulled right from there. And I encourage you to use the promo code leading off when you go to BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Special offer for new users. Bet $10, win $200 when you bet on any single game, regardless of the outcome. Sign up today. Download the BetMGM app or go to betmgm.com. Promo code leading off. One word, leading off. That's the code. $10, $200. What do you want from me? All right, let's go on the rest of these here. Jose Ramirez, total bases on DK today, 1.5 at plus 125. Yes, please. I want to pair that with all these. I'm going to put all these Cleveland Guardians ones together. Runs for Jose Ramirez is at 0.5. So if I like the total bases, I probably like the runs prop. I might as well do that too. Plus 105, Josh Naylor. He's been on fire. They're all going against Velasquez too. He stinks. 1.5 is the number of total bases for Josh Naylor. He's at plus 140 on that number. Give it a go. It is worth a shot. Jose Altuve, total bases on DK, 1.5, plus 130. I like the over on that. I'm kind of tempted with the Franmil one because I'm getting plus 205. Mayor, plus 205 for an RBI for Franmil. All he needs is one RBI. Can he do it? I don't know. Mike Mayer, what are some that caught your eye on this day?
Well, it's funny watching you go through them because I did mine without looking at yours, and I almost picked a bunch of the same ones, and I did pick a couple similar ones, or at least the same game. I also have Franmil. I have him over half a total base, so at least one total base. That one's minus 133, but like you said, Velasquez stinks. I have Aaron Savali minus 140 for over 3.5 strikeouts. He's not a big strikeout guy.
3.5 is pretty low.
He struck out like 8 in his last start, so I'm hoping to get at least 4 there, and then. My not big, but like my plus money gamble is Ty France against some pitcher named Bailey Falter over 1.5 total bases for plus 145. So
some guy, what's his name? Falter? Is that what you said his name?
Bailey Falter. It's like last year we were talking about Packy Naughton a lot on this show. Bailey Falter might be the new guy we talk about.
My favorite guy used to be Genesis Cabrera, who I said, if that's not the name of somebody who is a professional dancer down in Miami somewhere, I don't know what is the name of a professional dancer. Now to the stage, Genesis Cabrera. Like that totally sounds like that. I like Falter's an unfortunate name for a starting pitcher. Just
not as unfortunate as Homer Bailey.
Or the no, more unfortunate. Gotta go back. Gotta dial it back. Who is that guy? Was his name Bobo? Bobo Holloman. Bobo Holloman. Not enough Bobos in baseball nowadays. Besides us.
We're in general. Not enough Bobos in general.
In general, yeah. Maybe you should take on the Bobo moniker. I mean, just throwing it out there. Here's the DFS outlook for the day in the main slate on DK. Ty-Law, the terrible, 9.9. Shane McClanahan, 10.2. Going head-to-head against Shohei Ohtani, who's 8.8. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't take Ohtani at 8.8 on DK and pair him with McGill and just be done with it. You could go with Jose Urquidy, too, at 8.1 on DK and along with Ohtani. Or you could go with Urquidy and Shea McClanahan and kind of offset the cost. There's just a lot. Those are the 4 guys, basically, I would interchange and build lineups around that way. On FanDuel side, Tylor is 10K. McClanahan's 10.3. So give me McClanahan. Shohei Ohtani's 10.8. I'm sure everybody's going to be on Ohtani. So I would go to McClanahan instead in tournaments tonight over on FanDuel in the single pitcher site. And Urquidy at 7.6. If you want to go all the way down and go get stacks of Houston and the New York Mets tonight, that's a way to look at it. Lineup builders, Heimer Candelario on DK 3.5. Juan Yepez, the dispenser of justice and home runs at 3K on DK. Adam Duvall at 2.5 on FanDuel. Whit Merrifield is just 2.4. He's still like 5 on DK, but FanDuel's like, screw that. He's 2.4. Yona Heim, same thing. He's 2.3 on FanDuel. On DK, he's 5.2, I think, tonight, or 5.1. Juan Yepez on FanDuel's cheap 2 at 2.8. And Yuli Gurriel, no home runs. Perhaps tonight's the night at 2.5. Any other guys you got your eye on?
Yeah, so for pitching, like Urquidy and McGill would be the 2 guys I went to, just for price wise. And for lineup builders, Brandon Nimmo is only 2.9 on FanDuel. He's the one I like a lot.
That's a good one too.
I like Juan Yepez a lot, and also like there's a ton of really bad pitching on the slate tonight, and so just like look at the lineups and pick your favorite terrible pitcher like Bailey Falter. And although I think he's on the early slate,
he is on the early slate.
Yeah, so
Bailey Falter.
Just target one of those bad pitchers and stack them.
Home run calls of the night. I am going with Matt Olson against your boy Nady Eovaldi, who's given up the second most home runs so far, only to Hunter Green. So if you're behind Hunter Green and you're number 2, you've really achieved something, is what I'm saying, basically. Who are you going with for your home run call tonight? Who's going yard, Mayor?
I wanted to keep it going with Mikes and do like another Mike Trout, but I was like looking at the slate. There's just not enough Mikes or Michaels in baseball. I had to consider stretching it to Maikel Franco. I didn't like that.
Well, Giancarlo Stanton used to be Mike Stanton, so you could have gone that route.
Yeah, I don't pick Yankees though. I'm not a big Yankee guy. I don't know if you noticed that about
look,
me.
This is business, not personal. I don't care if you like it. Is this why you hated the Aaron Judge thing so much? If Rafael Devers had given that ball to a kid or had like, signed all this stuff after that, would you feel differently about that moment or no? Because
I think
you hate that moment because
hated
Aaron Judge.
I didn't like it because it was the Yankees. That definitely contributed. But I hated how much we were talking about it when it happens every day. This happens every day. Like, why are we still talking about it 4 days later? So I'm going Ty France.
Reaction because he was like so like immediately he hugged the guy and he was very overwhelmed.
Who cares?
You're like the Scarface of fantasy baseball. You're like Mike Mayer. All right, Mike Mayer. So you couldn't pick a Mike, so no magic Mikes for Mike Mayer. So what are you gonna go instead? You got Ty France.
Dr. Glenn said Mike Zunino. I did consider that one, but I didn't like his matchup. So I'm gonna go complete opposite of Mike. I'm going with Ty France.
Okay. I didn't realize that was the complete opposite of a Mike. Also, real quick, we got one more question here. Is Sheldon Noisy worth holding?
Nice.
That's from Jeremy. You want to hold on to Noisy? I mean, he's got a job. No. I would hold on to him. No?
I had a couple people reach out on Twitter, like, I forget the exact players, but it was like much better players on the waiver wire. And they're like, oh, who should I drop? And they showed me a screenshot of like 15 players. And I was like, Noisy. And they're like, I just picked him up.
Well, sure.
Don't care.
In a 10-team league. Yeah. I mean, I could certainly understand.
The answer is the answer, regardless of when you picked him up.
All right. Final thoughts. I tread carefully here, but Mike Mayer, any final thoughts for today before we close out things?
No final thoughts.
Thanks. Old school Dan Harris giving me no and then giving me. You can say no and then say something like Dan used to, or no?
No, just no. Just no final thoughts.
He's special, boys and girls. He's Mike Mayer. We always love having him on the show here every Wednesday. And also, we'll remind you, if you want to get in that home run contest, join our Discord at fantasypros.com/chat. It's free to join. Go check it out. But you got to be a premium member to get in the home run calls. Use the promo code leading off at BetMGM, the king of sports books. Make your wagers. We got a ton of them out there today. And of course, go check out all the great content at fantasypros.com. And why don't you subscribe to our YouTube channel? If you watch the video, like this video. It's literally the least you can do. Like the video, subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB, and thanks for hanging out with us. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Mike Mayer, I'm Joey P. We will see you next time, kids. Noisy.